Good morning, everybody. National Christmas Jumper Day. Save the Children, is it? I think.
That's the one.
Save the Children, so £2. So I'm going to put my £2 in. Michael, our executive chef at Caterkwik. This is the first time we've done this. So just to give you kind of an overview before I'm going to leave it with Mike to take you through this morning's events. Please give us as many questions as you can. Please interact with us and ask us many questions. So basically, every manufacturer of Combi ovens says they are the best, okay? And they're good at doing this, and you need to buy our machine because of this, that, the other. So everybody competes for, their point of sale, which is fine. We get that. But what we need to do is we need to put them all in a line, and basically you can then come here. This is for 6 months. We're going to do demos on these machines every Thursday until you're bored. Tell me you're not bored already, please. We're going to do this every Thursday. We're going to cook things and we're going to compare the machines. So with the contenders, I think we've got one more contender to come as well. That was a bit late to the party, but there's always one of those. So there'll be four machines next Thursday for you to ask questions, or if you've got any recipes, any product that you would like us to test all of these machines. I think, Mike, what are you doing today?
We're roasting some beef off today.
Roasting beef off today. So that's going to be, so we only want to do one product and we want to do it as fair as we can between the three machines. Why do we want to do this? We at Caterkwik are independent to any of the manufacturers, and we want you to make the best decision possible. Now, that's about as technical as I want to get. We're looking, I think Mike's going to look at life costs for you. He's going to look at the support from the manufacturers.
Yep.
You're going to look at the chemicals that it costs to run these machines.
The benefits and some of the specs and yeah.
The benefits and the specs. So I'm going to leave you with Michael now. Again, any questions whatsoever you have, if you want to come here and use all these machines, 4 brand new machines, some top of the range, some different price points as well, so you can compare the price points. So they're not all top of the range, some of the different models. But if the idea is you'll be able to come to one place. If you want if you want to be the manufacturer to be there with the one that you're interested in, fine, okay. But if you just want to be left alone and compare them yourself with our kind of in-house chef, that's good too. So whichever way you want to play it, whatever suits your budget, whatever suits your business needs, it's not one machine fits all. There's different machines for different people. So we would just want to try and get kind of looking at these different machines and how they're going to benefit your business and how we're going to look after you. So that's goodbye from me. All right, have a wonderful Christmas. I'm hopefully going to speak to you next Thursday, and I'm going to give you over to Mike. So I'm going to take my microphone off and I'm going to switch it off as well and give it to these guys, and they're going to say, so have a great week, and I look forward to reading all your questions. There you go. See ya. I'll hand it over to Mike.
Hi guys, right, so we're going to get into it pretty quick. So here on my left, you've got the iCombi Pro, which is a Rationale. This is the model that took over the self-cooking centre. Next one next to it is the Combi Max 10x10. It's distributed by Wellbuilt, and then the one on the end here is the Electrolux Skyline Premium. All 3 ovens are relatively the same size. They both take 1x1 gastros. They both got 10 shelves inside of it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn them all on. So to turn the Rationale Combi on, you hold the on button and that should just start working for me. Next one, you've got the Combi here, you've got a lovely little button that you just press and that'll come on. And then the Skyline Premium, you've got another button and you just press the on button. So while they're warming up, on top of the ovens, you might see that we've got some chemicals on top as well. So these are the auto dose cartridges for the Rationale. This one up here is the detergent for the Convafoam, and these are the detergent and rinse aid for the Electrolux. Now, these are something that you need to buy with them just to maintain the machines. They scale them, they keep them clean for you, and it takes all the hard work out of cleaning them. So it's definitely worth having them. It's an absolute must. So these ones up here, so I've got some costings for you. So this stuff here, so the blue Rationale cartridges, this is $122.99 plus the VAT. And this one here is the detergent, which we sell for $124.99. Now, if you do 3 medium to light cleans a week, you're looking at about 58p a clean for these, which isn't too bad really. I'll put these down here for now. And then you've got the Convafoam detergent up here. This stuff here is $132.99, and then you also get the rinse as well, which is down there. So this is a 10 litre, which is 120, oh no, is it 132.99 it is, that's the one. And then you get a litre of the rinse, I believe, which is $64.99 a tub, and that works out at 82p per clean under the same 3 light cleans a week. And then you've got this one here, which is the Electrolux, which these are the tablets for it. Up top, you've got the detergent and the rinse aid. So the detergent ones are, what's that, $69.99 for a tub, and then you've got the rinse aid, which is $49.99 a tub, and that works out at £3.30 a clean, which is a little bit more expensive, but it does take quite a few tablets. So let's get into it. We're going to start cooking the beef off pretty quickly. So if you want to come around and have a little look, so on the Rationale you do have meat settings. You can manually do it by clicking onto this and doing it this way, but we're not going to do it that way today. So what you would do is you'd click on the meat there, and then you'd click on large roasts. So this top one here means the probe, so with or without. I'm going to do it with. This middle one here is, do you want to gently cook it or do you want to roast it like you normally would? So the gentle cook, you'll actually get more yield out of your meat, and it will be tenderer and juicier than it will be on a roast. But we're going to go with the normal roast today. And this one here is how roasted, like how seared off do you want it. So back in the day, you used to see a beef, lambs, pork, you used to seal them off in a pan, bit messy, spits oil everywhere, and it's a bit of a faff. But in here now, you can literally do this in the oven. So I'm gonna go, yeah, I'll probably do it. And then we're gonna take it down to about, I'm gonna go 46 degrees for this. Then that will automatically start going into preheat, which is great. Next one, we have got, this is the Convafoam. Now this again has recipes stored on it as well, just like the Rationale. And we have here, and then we've got beef here, which I'll click on that. Ooh. There we go. So that's preset, so it'll roast at 250 degrees for 13 minutes, and then it will probe for the second half, which is probed up to 46 degrees. And then we've got the Skyline over here. Now this one is a manual timer. This isn't like your screens. This is a bit more basic, which I quite prefer. So I'm going to set the initial temperature, which is this one here, at 250. And I'm going to do a timer for 13 minutes, which is almost the same as the Convafoam there. And then it's going to preheat for me. Now all the alarms on these ovens will go off when they are good to go. So I'm going to just press play on that one as well. Right, so just a disclaimer for everyone out there as well, is I am by no means a professional at the Rationale, the Convafoam, or the Electrolux. So I'm just a bit of an amateur, so I will make some mistakes. I will maybe make the odd mistake here and there, but it is what it is. It's real and it's live, so that's all that matters. So we've got little trivets in these trays for the beef here. And then we're going to season the beefs as well. So something I did forget to do very quickly, if you want to come over here and have a little look, to try and keep this all fair for everybody. These beefs all weigh the same, so if you want to have a little look at that and tip the phone down a bit. Oh, there you go. There you got it now. So 1738, and then we've got 1741, and we've got 1729. So relatively the same. Ooh. This one's not quite preheated yet. It's nearly there. Rightio. Want to flip my page back? No, from the front. No, the front. There you go. Oh, is that the front one? Yeah. My mistake entirely. Oh dear. Right, so we're going to start going through some pricings of the ovens and what we sell them at the moment. So what we've got here is the rationale. So these rationales, if you buy them from us, cost £7,350.99 plus the VAT. And that's like sort of the high-end sort of rationale. So it's nice. And then next to it, we have, this is like the entry level that we do. So these come in at £3,400.99 plus the VAT, which is a really good price considering what it does and what it is. And then we've got the Electrolux on the end, which this one comes in at £5,599.99. So here we have got sort of budget range, as it were, then we've got a mid-range, and we've got the sort of the higher end. Now I must say, Electrolux also do a unit just like these two as well, with a screen, and does all the functions that these two would do as well, if not probably more. But we kind of wanted to have one in every range for every kind of person, so this is why we opted for this one. There we go. This one takes its time, doesn't it? Nearly there. So when you're coming to buy a Combi, you need to sort of ask yourself a few questions of, why is it you're buying each Combi? You know, you're buying it because of the name. Is it you see rationale and you think everyone's got a rationale, and it is a household brand now, and most kitchens will have them. But you got to ask, what is it you want this thing to do that maybe other things cannot do? And the Electrolux is now ready for the beef as well, which is going to sear off at 250. And I'm going to get my cloth here. There we go, and the timer started. So, as I was saying, you can opt for a slightly sort of budget version of these or a mid-range one, and the whole point of today is really to see, are they any different, and which one potentially is better, or are they all just the same thing and they all do relatively the same thing, and maybe the specs are just very, very close to one another, that you wouldn't really notice too much of a difference. I've never really played with the Combi frame myself or the Electrolux. This is the first time I'm using it. I've not had a practice at this. I've not had anything with this, so this is just new to me as well, which is, considering I've never used them, I know how to work a Combi, but it goes to show that they are quite easy to use and quite easy to get a hang of. You don't really need too much training. Now these are the kind of ovens here that you'd see in most standard restaurants. We also see them in Wetherspoons and Green King, Toby Carveries and stuff like that, places where consistency is high value to them. Whereas these things here, these are quite, even though they haven't got a screen, they do have loads of sort of benefits that you can save money, but as long as you've got a competent chef who knows what he's doing, or if you're in a small restaurant, you can easily get away with using one of these as well. They're not that difficult to work out, and I suppose trainees can use them, but experienced chefs don't necessarily need a rationale to tell them when to stick something in, or don't need the confirm to say, we're going to roast this for 12 minutes and then we're going to steam it for this long. A half decent chef should be able to just use one of these as well. So if you're looking to sort of save a bit of money on not having a fancy touch screen, then that would be the option as well. But as I said earlier, Electrolux also have one with a screen as well if you just like having a screen to look at. They all seem to be coming on very nicely. It's all on here, buddy. It's all on here. So I'm going to go through some of the after sales as well. So Rationale have something called the Rationale Service Partners and RSP, and they have thousands of them up and down the country coming out at a moment's notice. And I would say most service calls for most Combi ovens tend to fall within 1 to 3 days. Convafirm don't quite have as many engineers, I believe, as Rationale, but they do have engineers that can fix them as well. And if you're, even out of warranty, Rationales, Convafirms, Electrolux are still relatively easy to look after in regards to getting engineers out and stuff like that, which it's ultimately you're going to need a repair at some point or another. It doesn't matter which one you buy, it's something will break eventually. But parts are easily accessible for all three of them as well. Really easy accessible. So these Rationales are made in Germany. So if for example, if we didn't have parts in stock, they would probably just import them from Germany, and it'd probably take a couple of weeks. But these, manufactured and made in Germany. These Convafirms here are engineered in Germany, but they are made in China. And then you've got the Electrolux here, which are made and manufactured in Italy. And again, they have factories out there for their parts as well, so they can always send. If you haven't got a part in stock, it doesn't take very long for it to get over here, really. But as I say, most parts are generally in stock anyway, so I know that concerns some people. So all three of these as well have triple glass doors. I can't show you just now, so I don't want to start opening all the ovens, losing all my heat. But they do have 3 layers of glass in each and every one of them, and that's just to make them a little bit more energy efficient, so you don't get any heat loss through the glass itself. So if you was to touch all these now, they are actually cold, no heat on them whatsoever, which is obviously it's just for energy efficiency more than anything else. Let's have a think. I've done most of that. I've covered most of that and all. But going on to what we're going to be doing, this is going to be a bit of an episode thing that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing it every single week for the foreseeable. While we've got them all here, we may as well take advantage of it, and we'll try and have a little bit of fun with it as well. So we want you guys to have a little say on what we're going to be doing in it as well. So we're thinking of maybe doing a poll. I'll think up of 5 or 6 different ideas that we can do in them, and you guys can just vote on maybe which ones you want to do the most. So yeah, that's that one done. So all these units as well, so they all have different sensors in them that regulate convection, steam, humidity and stuff like that. So they all do the same thing. Maybe some of them are a little bit better, maybe some of them aren't quite as good, I don't know, but I don't know too much about the specifics. But the Convafirm has a sensor in it that regulates the humidity and the dry heat to protect the cook. So they've only got like 3 levels on there. So they have like low, medium, high. So in regards to like convection, it'll be low, medium, high, and then steam will be low, medium, and high, just 3 settings. And the reason they picked 3 is because of just the simplicity of it, and they didn't think there was if you've got 7 options, what's the difference between 3 and 4 and 5 and 6? So they just had 3 nice options that just makes it a little bit more user-friendly and easy. The Rationale also has, I think it's 5 levels of steam, I believe, if I remember off the top of my head. But as I said earlier, I'm no professional at this, so I know someone at Rationale will be watching thinking, what's this guy saying? So this is going to take about an hour, but yeah, they've got sensors in there as well, which also regulate, I think it's called the eye climate control, if I remember correctly, which regulates the humidity, and it regulates the dry air inside there as well, like the convection cooking, and also the combination of Combi and steam ovens. And that's where the Combi ovens, that's why they're called a Combi, is because they can steam and roast at the same time. They've got that combination function, so you can do steam and roast and just convection by itself. So it's not called iClimate, it's called iDensity Control, that's the one, which has an array of sensors for high performance of the heating system. And then the Electrolux one has something called the Lambda sensor, which precisely measures humidity control and measures the internals of the ovens 3,600 times an hour, which is quite a lot. So far, looking at my beefs on how they're going, if I had to, they're all looking relatively similar at the moment. I'd say this one's looking a little bit more roasted than the other two at the moment, but you've got to bear in mind that I did put that one in when the oven was probably a little bit too cold because I wasn't too sure if a timer would go off. But this one I put in a little bit later, so this one might come out a little bit later as well, but that's nothing to do with the oven, that was to do with me not knowing how to use them properly. So hopefully we'll do a good job of it. I'm just gonna have my little bench a little clean down, and then so just so you know as well, these ovens have you know, they have like settings on there which reduces the amount of waste on the meat, so meat shrinkage. I can't remember the exact figures on it. I'm sure Rational, Confirm and Electrolux know them off the top of the head, but unfortunately I didn't. But so you get more value, even if it's sometimes I think it's like 20% or something, which could be, you know, 3-4 portions, which is the bottom line of your profit. So it does have that benefit as well for you, in case you are wondering. So you might notice I've got a set of scales here that I used earlier on. That was just to show that all the beefs were relatively the same size, but when they come back out of the oven as well, we're going to weigh them again to see how much each one shrunk by and what the overall weight is once it comes back out of the oven as well, just to see where each one's at really. All of the ovens behind me, Confirm, Electrolux, Rational, they all have demonstrations that you can actually go to them and demo these ovens. You can also get the reps to come to site as well and speak to you about the differences, or as Matthew said earlier on, you can get someone and come here and we can just show you sort of a raw, you know, how to use them sort of thing, and maybe just figuring out which one, because at the end of the day, these are an investment. They save money, they save time, they save on your energy bills, and you know, if you're investing, you know, 8,000 or 6,000 or you know, 4,000, you want to make sure you're getting the right one. So this is just a really good opportunity to come in, because you know, I'm pretty sure that in the UK, we're probably one of the only few people in the UK that actually have 3 completely different brands, and soon to be 4 different brands. So there's a new one coming next week. One that probably most of you haven't heard of or didn't know existed, maybe. I don't know, but that'll be a little surprise for you next week. So it'll be sitting right on the end over here if there's enough space. We might have to move a few things around, but we'll make it work. So in these 2 ovens here, they have like the options in here for like doing like 6-7 trays. So you can, if you're doing like a full English breakfast, I know a lot of chefs don't necessarily use this because it's more of a consistency thing more than anything else, maybe in like bigger hotels, restaurants, you know, Wetherspoons, as I was saying before. But you can put multiple levels, and you can, I don't think you can do it on this particular one here, but if you had like I think it's the Premium S, is it with the screen? So if you had the Premium S, you would also be able to do the same functions as these 2 as well. I just don't want to downsell this one. This is still a really, really good machine, even though it's not quite got the screen. It is an amazing machine nonetheless. But you can have, like, say for example, you can have your black pudding, your bacon, your sausage, your hash browns, you know, your tomatoes, and you can do your eggs in there as well. And you can do it all at the same time. You can put a timer on for each individual shelf as it goes in. So the oven will say, take shelf 7 out, take shelf 6 out. Look at that, we're going. Make sure it's all looking good. Yeah, so, and it'll tell you to take which one out and when, which is kind of handy, especially if you've got new chefs in, or commis chefs that are maybe not quite skilled, or maybe you're just really tired and you forget you put something in the oven. It's perfect for that. It's perfect for that. So this one's almost nearly ready to come off roast. This one has now come off sear, and now it's gone on to roast instead. And this one here is still on sear at the moment. I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but it automatically does itself here. So when it goes from sear to roast, it will still continue this timer that's going down here, which is absolutely fine. This one here starts a completely different new timer, which is the time. It's not a timer that I set. It's a temperature that I set. So I'm roasting at 170, and I'm doing to a core temperature of 46. I might potentially go up to 48 degrees because I want to cut into the beef before I leave the live, but at the same time, I need to let it rest, and so I might need to take it a little touch further to maybe 48, 49 degrees, just to make sure it's not too pink in the middle, because I'm not going to give it much time to rest. So we've got 40 seconds left on roast on this one now. So we're nearly there on all three of them. We're looking at about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So I've got to keep you guys busy for 45 minutes, which is going to be a task. I hope I've written down enough notes because I'm not. So the rationale here, when it goes onto steam function, it's got a boiler inside of it, and then the boiler's got water that stays at temperature, and it gives you a really consistent steam throughout the whole unit, and it circulates it all right the way through. So it has got a boiler system in there. Another reason for these tablets as well, and all three of them this goes for, is limescale is a killer on machines, whether it's a glass washer, dishwasher, combi oven, it doesn't matter. These do that for you. These, and especially inside of the boilers and the internals of the machine, that's why it's really important to use the cleaners regularly as well. Right, so this is the Electrolux one now finished roasting. So what I'm going to do now, hopefully, is set a new temperature, 170, and instead of doing a timer, I'm going to do temperature, which I'm going to go to 48, let's say. The probe's already in it because I did it earlier on, and if I press play, hopefully that should start working. So the oven's now going to cool down, so as you can see, a lot of steam's just started piling out of it. It's just cooling the internal of the oven down. So yeah, so I was saying, yeah, so yeah, as I say, this one has a boiler system in it, which is really consistent, really good. This one has something called the spritzer system, which basically means it sprays water onto an element, and then the element obviously gives off a lot of steam, and then that fans will circulate that through the oven, which I'm not too savvy on which one's more efficient, but that's just the two different. And you know, there are other ovens out there that use spritzer systems. I believe Electrolux use spritzer systems on some of them as well, is that right?
Got a 6-bit Pro. It's a Pro model spritzer.
Yeah, so they do a spritzer one as well, but I think most of theirs are boiler systems, aren't they? So, and this one on the end here is another boiler system, just like the rationale, for a really consistent steam. And again, the cleaning tablets as well, that keeps the boiler, you know, from limescale, especially if you're in a hard water area, but even if you're in a soft water area, you still need to be doing it anyway. So on all three of the, I'm not 1,000% sure on this one. I might need to speak to one of the reps, but I'll find out for you next week. These two, not necessarily this one, but if you had the Premium S model, which has the screen, you also have like overnight roasts as well, which me personally, when I was chef, I never really used too many of these little function things. It's kind of new to me. But the overnight roasts is probably the only one I did use because it is very, very efficient. So, you know, on a Saturday night before you go home, you'd stick your beef in the oven and you would then put it on the overnight roast. And now on a Sunday, you know, you got a lot of stuff going through the oven. You got your Yorkies, you got your roast potatoes, you got your roast veg, you got your roast meat. So there's a lot going through the oven. And if you've only got one and you're doing quite a few covers, you know, your Yorkshire puddings are going to take up that much space if you're doing quite a few. And most people do 3, 4, 5 trays at a time if you can. But if you can come in on a Sunday and your beef's already sorted and it's been held in the oven for you, you can just take it out of the oven when you come in at 9 o'clock, and then you've freed up just that little bit more oven space, which just gives you a little bit more time in the morning, which can either give you more time to do a bit of prep, or it can give you an extra half an hour in bed, whichever one floats your boat really. So just a quick shout out as well. So me and Josh yesterday, you might have seen me on the video yesterday, we went down to Roast Mutton to pick up these beefs. Beautiful little beef units. They are silver side beef, not top side by and they did a great job of tying them and sourcing them for us, and they looked absolutely fantastic. But so I just want to put it out there that I had to take them home last night because I needed to just make them a little bit smaller. I needed to make them a little bit smaller just to, I didn't want to be here for 2 hours. I don't, you know, it's a long time to do a live. So I cut them down a little bit and I've retied them. So the beefs looked fantastic when they were done in there. So this is no sort of, I'm just saying that, you know, this is what I did rather than, I don't want someone looking at it thinking, oh, they don't look very good. You know what I mean? So there we go. So as we were saying before, if you guys want to come down and have a little play with them yourselves, you know, you're more than welcome. All you need to do is just ring someone in the sales team upstairs. They'll take it, and you just give it, as long as you can give us a tiny little bit of notice, we can get everything nice and clean in here for you, get it all set up for you. You can bring your own food in with you if you want to do, you know, a bit of beef, if you want to cook some bread, if you want to prove some dough. You know, there's a lot of options you can do here. And it'd just be fantastic to get in and just have a little play with them yourselves. And you know, it's nice to have a try before you buy, especially when spending, you know, thousands. It's always nice to have a little look. And we're open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, and Friday, 9 till 5 on a Friday. But yeah. So if we were having a bit of a race with these beefs, just going to put it out there that this one here at the moment, considering it went in last, is at 21 degrees. I don't know what this one's at, and I don't know how to check it. So, oh no, it is right there. So that's at 18 degrees. This one is at 25. So there is, these two are sort of speeding off at the moment, quite a bit with the rationale in the front, but bearing in mind, the Electrolux did go in last and it did go in quite a few minutes before. So I would say it would be on par with timings on the rationale at the moment. So all of these stands that you see below as well, so you might see the rationale one now. This one's got wheels on it, which means just easy to pull in, pull out. Just whenever you're doing it though, if they are connected to like a ton dish or something like that, you might just need to lift it out so you don't snap or break anything. Or if it's connected directly to the waste, then you need to just disconnect it before you pull it out, otherwise you end up with water everywhere. These two also both can come with casters as well. We didn't have the casters for these just at the moment, but I think we are getting some for this one, possibly this one as well. But so you can have them on, all of them on wheels, so they're just easy to move in, easy to move out, easy to clean behind. So that's just another little benefit for you. Yeah. So when we're deciding the poll, I'm not too sure if I'm just going to pick a few items myself. I don't know if you guys want to comment some things that maybe you'd like to see, and then we can just cycle through them and just see which ones would probably be the best options for that one. So hopefully these shouldn't take too much longer. The hardest part is getting it past room temperature. Once you pass 25 degrees, it's pretty quick after that normally. Right, so all three ovens have got cleaning cycles on them, and most of them, like some have like 3 or 4, some have, you know, I think the Rationale's got 9 if I remember correctly. The Rationale's got, I don't know how many the Electrolux has got. And I think this has got about 5 or 6 as well. And they have like anything from a light clean to, you know, a really heavy deep clean. And so on the Combi phone, for example, it's called a Combi clean, which is the name of the cleaning cycle on there. You've got the Rationale, which is called the eye care system. And then the Electrolux is called the Sky Clean. So they've all got their own little names for it as well, which is very nice. Yeah. So you might notice all these chemicals down here as well. So down here, these in particular, so you got, these are the Electrolux ones up here. In here, you've got tablets, right? So there's a little tray just behind the door there where these tablets will go into, and they'll just sit into it. You have to handle them, unfortunately, but you know, shouldn't be too much of an issue as long as you use gloves or wash your hands afterwards. And then you've got the other tablets here, which sit, I believe, in the center at the bottom. Again, these are just another tablets. There again, like that. Which is how you would clean it. And these are quite harsh cleaners as well. They do a really good job. And a good tip, if you ever got any dirty gastros, or if your filter banks are dirty in your thing, stick them in too. It comes out immaculate. Down here, so you've got the big bottles of Combi cleaner here. So this is a bit like the rinse aid you'd find on a glass washer. So it's got like a little attachment down there with a little weight on the end, and it sits in, screws in, and then it just feeds it in every single time you do a clean. It just automatically starts dosing it for you, so you don't have to touch any harsh chemicals, which is great for any kind of kosh issues. And then Rational actually have two different types of cleaning methods. So they've got the first one, which is the tablets, which most, 99% of people will already know. You've got blue and green for the iCombis, or it's blue and red for the self-cooking centre. So if you had the tablet version, you'd have a little tray down here just below the door that you put the blue tablets in, and then just on the left-hand side, you'd normally have somewhere where you can put the green tablets in, if I remember correctly, or it could be the bottom, I can't 100% remember. But now Rational have brought out this stuff which is called the Auto Dose, and these are just little tiny blue tubs, which just below this bit here, you just pull it out and then you take the lid off it and then you shove it in and good to go. And again, you don't have to handle this chemicals anymore. It's just the oven will just automatically dose it every time it cleans, which is again good for your kosh. Which all these chemical cleaners are available from us as well, so if you wanted to buy them from us, you can do. And we are quite good on price on not just the cleaners, but on all three combi ovens as well. We're really competitive, and if you do find a better price elsewhere, let us know. We'll try our best to match it and do you a good deal. If you've noticed now, the Rational starting to do a cool down, because I think it's getting, for the best part, past the halfway point, so it's dropped down to 120. So it's going to start slowly roasting that off now. So that's changed its cycle. So that was on sear for quite a while. This one here, still got quite a bit to go. And here we're up to 24. So we're getting there. I'd say another 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and probably be about right. Just to let you know as well, so with these ovens, we at Caterkwik offer install on all three of them. We can do an unpack and position. If you just want us to help you get it into position and then you can get your electricians in to come and sort it out, we can do that for you. If you just want a curbside delivery, that's fine as well. We can also do that, not an issue. And we can do a full install as well, where we send our engineer to site and he will deliver and install the goods. We can do a one-man install. If you've got someone on site that can give us a hand getting it on the stand, that's fantastic. Or we can do a two-man install as well, where we send two of our engineers who will get it on the stand, get it all sorted, and pretty much take all the hard work out of it for you. So if you did want to look down them options as well, just give our office a call. Someone up there will get a price to you as soon as possible. And yeah, hopefully we can do some business with it. So we are an approved engineer for Rational. We are a Rational service partner, so we are fully qualified to do these. I know we can do these, but I don't know if they have like the same sort of thing as Rational does. I don't think they have a service partner as it is, but I do believe our engineers are going to get some training on them. And I believe we are approved engineers for the Electrolux models as well, so we can install them and approved by Electrolux as well. So you've got no worries and thinking, sometimes when you get your own electrician in and stuff like that, sometimes you get an electrician that doesn't quite do it right or does something slightly wrong, because some of these manufacturers have got very specific ways of doing it and specific ways of how it's got to be installed, and if it's done incorrectly, it can void your warranty, and that's you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that, considering you get 2 years parts and labour on all three of them, and you don't really want to affect that too much. Obviously, you're more than welcome to use your own engineers. You can do, but if you want to play it safe and get a trusted person who's approved by the suppliers, then we can do that for you. It's not a problem. Another thing I just noticed when walking past all these ovens is you've got 10 shelves in here. So these are all like 1x1 compatible, so gastros can go in there, no problem. They are available in like 2x1s as well, which is basically a double-sized gastro, a lot bigger. Not very many places need that. You're probably looking at places that are doing buffets or large covers. But these are just the 1x1s. Now you've got your 10 trays here, but if you look in this one here, they're all, you won't be able to see it maybe, but these shelves are all numbered, and I think that is just simply for when you've got the shelf timer on, you've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And you don't have to sit there and start counting on which one it is. You can just see the number and go, right, that's the one that's coming out, which is quite convenient really. To be fair, I've not had much of a play with this one, but it is really, really straightforward to use, and it's really simple to use. I absolutely love it, and I actually really like this one too. So when it comes out of the roast mode, I'll probably be able to show you next week, is everything you need on this one is near enough on one screen. So you can create a recipe on the same screen that you can roast something on. So you don't have to go in and out and doing this and doing that. You can do it all on the same screen, and you can create a cooking profile, a cooking system on that same screen, which I think is really efficient. And you can also change the humidity, the I think they call it crisp and tender, was it, or something like that? C&T. Can't remember what the T stands for, but I know one of them's crisp. Crisp and tasty. That's it. Crisp and tasty. Right. So, but it's got all the options just all on the same screen for you. So it's incredibly user friendly, and it's all just there, rather than like rationale. I'm not saying it's not a good thing or whatever it might be, but you've got lots of different screens on the rationale, which is fantastic because it has got so many different features, and it's fantastic in that sense. But there is lots of little different screens that you've got to go through, and you can always have rationale come in and train you and show you how to use it as well, which is fantastic. And they'll come to site on every single one they do free of charge. They'll do it, and same for I believe these two as well. Is they'll come to site and they'll show you how to use them as well. But they are relatively straightforward to use. I've not had much experience with the iCombis myself. I've used a lot of self-cooking centres, so I've not had much experience with these, but the screen is almost identical, and it's almost the same. So if you have got a self-cooking centre and you're not sure whether the Combi will be the same, it's close, except for the on and off button, which it doesn't have. And while I'm going on to buttons as well, I love the fact that, like, I know it sounds really silly, but I love the fact that these two have got a lovely on and off button. If I was to just press that, it goes off. If I press that, it goes off. Rationale's a bit different. So when you want to turn it off, you need to exit whatever you're doing. So there'll be a little down arrow here, which you'll hold. Come out of what you're doing, then you'd hold the button down, and then you'd swipe across. Which is fine, it works, it's great. But I personally love having a little button. I really do like having a button. And I think when I seen these two, I think the first thing I said was, I'm glad it's got a button. It's the little things that I like. Looks like we're getting there. Got a bit of time to kill yet. So in all three of these, some people phone our office and they say, "Oh, can we get a water softener with it? A CTU vapor water softener with them?" And you can have a water softener on all three of them if you wish, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need one because you have got all these chemicals, and as long as the chemicals are getting used properly and regularly, you shouldn't need a water softener on them. But at the same time, you have got that option as well if you want to just be doubly sure, or if you've had a lot of issue with limescale in the past. You can order one if you want one, but you don't necessarily need one, which is fantastic. All three of these can have stacked units on as well. So if you don't fancy a 20 grid, for example, or if you're restricted on height or something like that, coming through doorways, whatever it might be, you can stack a 6 grid on top of each of these. You can't stack a 10 grid on either of these because the working height will be way too high. So if you're taking a tray out up here and it falls, you're going to get hurt big time. So all three of them will come on a low level stand. So low level stands are generally about 20 to 30 centimeters from the floor. So the bottom shelf will be relatively low, but it'll take the top height to a comfortable working height almost. So you can stack all three of them with a 6 grid. Now, if you wanted, like, you wouldn't necessarily need to stick with an iCombi Pro either. You could have a iCombi Classic on the top if you wanted to, if you wanted a basic one. But another, when I said earlier about the 20 grids, it's great having a 20 grid because you get like the banquets and trolleys that you can pull out of them, and then you can put the thermal covers over, and you can take it to another end of the restaurant, hotel, whatever it is you're doing. Or if you had a 10 and a 6, it's great to have that option as well, because if anything ever happens to one of them, or if it breaks down and it doesn't work, you've got another one there to tie you over until that other one can get fixed. And that goes the same across all three of them. Having 2 is better than having one big one, because if it does break down, you've got a backup. You've got a backup plan. And most kitchens can't operate these days without some sort of oven, whether it's a convection oven, like a turbofan, for example, or just a standard combi oven. But most kitchens can't really operate without them, so they are a vital piece of kit. So it's always good to have that option as well. All three of them can also have independent hoods. This, for the rationale, it's called an ultra vent. I can't remember what this one's called, and I cannot remember what this one's called. But they all have vents that can stick right on the top here. So say, for example, you haven't got the extraction, right? And these ovens do produce a lot of steam, as you can see up here. They've all got exhausts on the top, all of them. And this is where all the steam and all the air will come out of. And that'll create condensation, it'll create grease and of the likes of stuff. So if you haven't got under a canopy, as it were, you can have one of these. It will take away the worst of it for you. So it just gives you that options as well. If you don't have enough space in your cook line, you can do it there. Or if you're just, if you're too close to the edge of the canopy here, for example, if your oven was all the way out here, you could put a vent on it too, just because maybe some of the steam might lift up. And when steam hits the ceiling, it makes the ceiling wet, then it drips down, it lands on the floor, your floor gets wet, and then someone slips over. So it's a good option for that. I think I've done most of that. So I'm not too sure on the Electrolux models. The Premium S can come with a screen. I'm not sure what the size is, but this one here's got like a nice little 7-inch screen, which is a nice size screen, which is great. And then this one here, the Rationale's got a 10.1 inch, which is a very large screen, which is really nice, really easy to use, nice and colourful. Ah, there we go. So I was speaking to Electrolux yesterday, just trying to get a bit of information out of them, because I don't know too much about these two, so I'm trying to I'm going to be learning more as I get on every week, and every week hopefully I can tell you something new or tell you something different. I was trying to find out how many they sold since they've been doing them, but they said that was impossible. It's in the hundreds of thousands. I was like, oh, fair enough, you know what I mean, you can't count them all. But Electrolux sent me an email saying they have actually been accredited with inventing the first Combi ovens under the Juno brand. And I haven't had enough time to investigate what that Juno brand means or what it is, but they've been accredited with inventing the first Combi oven. So, to be fair, that information is new to me, because I always thought it was Rationale. I always thought it was them, and I'm really surprised, because I don't know why, but it's just an interesting one. Looks like we're getting there. We're not far off now, guys. We're not far off at all. There's only so much I can do, Josh. There's only so much I can do. I can talk the hind legs off a donkey for the rest of the time, can't I?
They only make Combi.
Well said. So, do Convifirms do that as well?
Convifirm's own brand, isn't it?
Yeah, Convifirm's a brand.
But it's within Wellbuilt.
Yeah, it's part of Wellbuilt, but I think Josh was just saying there's Rationale exclusively make iCombis, or combination ovens, Combi ovens. They do have like the iVarios, they have the iHexagon now, but mainly they are a distributor of Combi ovens, which it's always an interesting thing. I always thought if someone specifically involves themselves with one thing, it's normally quite a good item, whereas Electrolux can do just about everything. They do, gas cooking equipment, electrical cooking equipment, they can do, panini machines, they do blenders, they do food processors, they do anything you need in the kitchen, from a fridge to anything. They do it, and you can fit out your entire kitchen with Electrolux. Not like you couldn't fit your kitchen with just Rationale. You could have a Vario and a Hexagon and a Combi oven, but you couldn't have the fridges and all the other stuff. Whereas Electrolux, you could actually fit your entire kitchen out just using them alone. And yeah, absolutely. And they've got great ranges as well, Electrolux. They've got various ranges. They've got like a mid-range, they've got high-end stuff, and they do like some really bespoke stuff as well, like some really bespoke cooks, like center islands and stuff like that as well. Don't know too much about that, but I know that they do it. So if you're ever looking to fit out your kitchen and you're interested in a brand, Electrolux could literally take control of that for you, and you could fit your entire kitchen out just using them alone.
On the Wellbuilt range, Merry Chef.
Yeah. So Convifirm's part of the Wellbuilt, as Josh was just saying. Part of Wellbuilt, and Wellbuilt's also the main distributor of the Merry Chefs. Now, Merry Chef, for those that you don't know, is a high-speed oven. The kind of thing you see them in famously in Subway. That's just a particular model. I think that's the E3 or something, isn't it, that they have in the Subway, but they do a range called the Connects, which is like the Connects 12 and the Connects 16. And we had a little trial of one of them the other day, which was really interesting. But they also distribute them, and they are good little machines. If you've got a high-paced cafe that are doing a lot of toasties, paninis, maybe bacon butties, sausage butties, you couldn't necessarily cook the raw sausage. You'd have to have pre-cooked bacon, pre-cooked sausage. But there are options for them merry chefs out there that can do that.
That's me.
Yeah. So these two here can connect to the Wi-Fi. So through the Wi-Fi, you can do your HACCP control. You can put your recipes on there, and the processes that you have in your restaurant or hotel, or wherever it is. So you have the options to do that. I don't believe this one does, but it does have a USB thing here, which I assume is for putting recipes on and various other little bits, or maybe even stick a dongle in it. I don't know. But if we had the proper Electrolux, if we had the Premium S, that would also have the screen. It would also have the same features as these two. So I'm hoping when these beefs come out, they are going to be relatively similar. And I think that what I'm trying to prove or unprove today would be just saying. I'm hoping when I pull all these beefs out of here, I'm not trying to throw any combi oven under the bus here. All we're trying to do is give a really honest opinion, and so when these all come out, I'm hoping that they're all going to be very, very, very similar, and it'll just sort of show you that most combi ovens can do the same thing, and maybe one might be better than the other. I don't know, but I think they're all sort of catching up with each other now. If you look at it though, so this is at 35, 34. And this one is 38. So they are getting very, very, very close.
As an ex-chef, what would influence you buying a combi oven? If you didn't know anything about combi ovens, and you rang up Caterkwik and said, I want a combi oven, as a chef of 10 years, was it you said the other day?
16.
16 years. What would influence you and say, right, I want that combi oven?
Right.
See, I know we're going to miss it, but
Right. What would influence me to buy a combi oven, and which one would it be? Now, I'm gonna have to be really controversial to the other two. I don't mean to be, but you've asked the question. So, right, I've heard of a Rationale. Now, before I started the Caterkwik about 3.5 years ago. Now, before I started the Caterkwik, the only two combi ovens I'd ever heard of was a Linkat, which was a Linkat combi that was made by Rationale, badged by Linkat, something like that. And I'd heard of a Rationale. I didn't know this existed, and I did not know this existed. So, if I was to buy it, I would have bought it based on I know what that is, and I think a lot of chefs do talk about it. But then that strikes the question, you know, why do you want a Rationale? You got to ask yourself why, and you know, is it because, you know, obviously the name, but is it because it's better than the others? Is it because it's faster or more efficient, energy efficient? Does it have less reduction on the meat? You know, or does that do the exact same thing, or does this one also do the exact same thing? Do they both do? So you got to ask yourself why that one, and then think, well, why not save a couple of £1,000 and maybe go for an Electrolux? But Rationale's got saved. They have got something going for them, and it's their name, and I think every kitchen I've ever worked in, everyone, you know, as soon as you hear the word Rationale, I think Rationale is a bit like, I think someone was saying the other day, it's like the Hoover, right? People don't call combi ovens. People just instantly go, oh, a Rationale, but they mean combi oven, and it's a bit like the Hoover. You know, the Hoover's a brand, not an item. And I think that's the same sort of thing, and hopefully we're just going to open your eyes up to that you can save a little bit of money, and you're not going to sacrifice on any quality. You're not going to be sacrificing on time or energy or anything like that. It's, you know, you really, you know, you're saving money, and it's a no-brainer, you know. And this little thing here, this is kind of, I don't think many people on this live might not have heard of this particular brand. But it is a really good little entry level. We sell it at £3,400.99 plus the VAT, which is an unbeatable price. And just so you know, that is a special offer that is on right now. I don't know how long that special offer is on for though.
put a thing in after this.
Yeah, these are on special offer. I think they were, was it 4,500? Something in that ballpark, and now they're 3,400, which is absolutely, you're not going to find a combi oven less than that, and the quality of it as well. You really, really won't. And if you want, if you're not 100% convinced on it, come down, have a play, see what you think yourself. You know what I mean? You might save yourself a few £1,000s. The Electrolux one again, it's a mid-range, 5,600 plus VAT. That's how much we're selling it for at the moment. Fantastic oven. I believe they're in stock at the moment as well, is that right? They're in stock, so easily available and delivered in 2 to 3 days. Again, these are 2 to 3 days or 3 to 4 days, and then these are about 3 to 5 working days generally for delivery if they're in stock at the time. But it's very rare that we don't have these combis in stock. Like they normally have plenty in because they are a really good seller. Another thing as well, another thing to bear in mind when you're buying combi ovens is, I've seen it happen quite a few times where people have bought them and not checked the dimensions of the oven and checked the dimensions of your doorway. Because we have had issues in the past where people have had to remove panels, handles, vents, and it's a real faff. So it's always worth just double checking the size of your doors and stuff. Just make sure it's all going to fit in properly. I think we're about 5-6 minutes away now, maybe 7 minutes, because it's lucky really, because I'm running out of stuff to say. And if you're thinking I'm absolutely brain mad, if you want to turn the camera around and look at what I've been reading all day, right? I've spent a day and a half making notes, so I've got something to say to you guys. So I've been working very hard to try and make sure that I haven't been stood here in silence. So, and I've got to keep myself busy for 45 minutes, but...
As a chef,
yeah,
obviously, how many functions would you actually use in each other? Obviously they say they do like, the electrics does like bake and roast, that does roast and stuff, but as a chef, do you just come in the morning, whack it on light and leave it for the rest of the day?
That's exactly what I do. So when we were discussing beforehand, we were discussing possibly doing a breakfast, and then we were going to do some Yorkshire puddings and roast potatoes and roast beef, and we were going to do all this, and then we kind of thought it's going to take a long time and it's got to be fair. And then I sort of thought, you know what, why, instead of using these ovens to the absolute maximum potential that they can do, why don't we use them like your everyday real chef will do? They'll come in the mornings, they'll turn the oven on, they'll stick it on 180, they'll stick it on 190, and then continuous, and then they'll just rock with that all day, unless they're roasting or boiling something or braising something, as it were. But that's how most chefs will use the ovens. Now, that's not how I've used these two today. I've used these two with the particular settings, but I have used this one just on manual mode, and we wanted to get like Rationale and Electrolux will come in and say, these are the bells and these are the whistles, this is what it can do, it can do this, it can do that, it can do this. But I think the reality is a lot of people will just use them as a really nice large space oven. And that's kind of what we want to do as well. We will be exploring all the other settings that you can do and all the amazing features that they all have. But we're also going to be using them just like an everyday chef will as well, just to show you, we're going to be realistic, we're going to be true, it's going to be truthful, it's just going to be nice, just to, rather than someone trying to upsell you to, buy this because of this and buy this because of this. We're just going to give you a really honest opinion. But as it stands now, all three of them are caught up with each other. Again, 42, 40, 42. This one's fallen behind just a tiny little bit, but I'm not concerned at all. This one is absolutely caught up, considering it went in minutes and minutes after both of them put together. That Electrolux is absolutely shot forward incredibly quick. Now this is roasting at quite a low temperature at the moment, at 119, if you can see it there, right? But both of these are both roasting at 170. So these two have been on for the exact same amount of time. But I must say, when I put this beef in here, the oven was a little bit colder than the 250 that I wanted it at, just because I wasn't sure if there was a whistle or bell going to go off. But yeah.
Why do you think Rationale dropped his temperature to 120 then?
Why do I think?
What do you think? What's your prediction of that will have a benefit over
Well, at first looks, right, I can tell you now that in there has shrunk considerably, and I can tell by just looking at it that it has. This one, not quite as much as that one, I believe. Looking at it, not quite shrunk as much. This one doesn't look like it's shrunk a whole lot. And I think that lower temperature, remember when I was saying before about, you know, they roast, you can have it roasted on like a proper roasting hot, or you can have it on the slower roast and you get greater yield out of your meat. You know, and that's the bottom line of your profit is that, because if you can get an extra 2 portions, 3 portions, 4 portions out of a big joint of beef or a medium size, whatever it might be, that's your bottom line profit. That's your margin that you're wasting every time you cook a piece of beef. That is your GP down the drain. Nice and simple.
You've lost portions, so to say.
Yeah, you've lost.
Like, how many portions do you reckon these would do? Like from raw, how many portions should they get?
What, one of them?
Yeah.
Well, that size. So that was 1.7 kilos. They probably get about 170 grams a portion. I would say maybe 150 to 170 grams a portion. If it was topside, or maybe if it was strip loin, it might be a little bit less. Let me get my little calculator out, eh? So that'd be 10 portions out of each one. 10 portions, there or thereabouts. But if you can squeeze an extra couple of portions out, as I say, it's your bottom line, it's your GP, it's your profit. And if you can, you know, and eventually the oven will pay for itself. You know how many, you know, if you're a hotel, you're cooking, you know, what, 4 or 5 top sides of beef. That's, you know, if you're getting 2 or 3 extra, or 1 or 2 out of each individual piece of meat, that is, you know, if you're selling the roast for 22, 25, 28 quid, however much you sell them for, it's all that extra money. Even if it's only £200 a week or £100 a week, that rationale will pay for itself in a couple of years. And that's not to mention all the benefits of the, you know, the energy savings and the water savings and the savings on the chemicals and stuff like that. It all adds up, and that's why they say, you know, these things here. These things here are pieces of kit, but they're also investments. They're not just cooking equipment, they are investments. And that's the bottom line, really. Look, we're nearly there now, guys. Nearly there. Yeah.
Cook your meat first, put it in.
First one's done. We're going to have a little look. So that, if you look at this now, this has gone on to hold. So this will hold the meat for you at this temperature. So you're not going to get it cold. See how the temperature's dropped down to 46, and then here it's at 30. So I think it's trying to reduce the temperature. So what I'm going to do, take the probe out first. Oh yeah. There we go. There's the first one. So I'm going to try and keep these in order in front of each oven. Now, I'm going to have to cut into these beefs a little bit sooner than I'd like to, so I know there's a lot of chefs out there saying you should be resting it longer. I know, but you can't have everything, can you? Right, very close, very close. So if you look at that there now as it is, I put that in for a sear, and I'm pretty sure I put it on high. Now, I wouldn't necessarily maybe say that that's, I'd have liked it a little bit browner, maybe a little bit crispier. It looks nice. I'm sure it's going to taste nice, but I thought the roast would be the sear on it would be a little bit more, and you'll probably see it when this one comes out. Maybe when this one comes out, because looking at it through the glass, it looks like this one's got quite a good little sear on it. So all of these ovens have like automatic functions in them, where it will remove humidity and it will add convection, and it monitors that constantly through the process to get the best results out of each oven as well. So, you know, that's really key, really, to just about everything. Yeah. And as I say, I'm going to weigh all these as well before I cut into them, just to see how much we've lost on each one, as well.
These all start at 250. So there's no like.
Well, the rationale had a preset one, which is I'm sure there's a way you can do it where you can say, I want to sear at this degree, I want to do this, and then I want to do that. I'm sure there is, but I couldn't quite figure it out. So I went for the large roast setting, and I altered the settings to what I wanted it to be, to try and hopefully mirror what these two were doing as well. So rationale, I'm really sorry if I didn't quite do it right, but I did try my best. But if there is a way I can do it, then I'll talk to you this week and we can have a little chat about it.
Did you put in how much that weighed into the machine? Or was it just a large roast?
It was a large roast.
So you didn't say you didn't tell it was like a 1.7 kilo.
No, didn't put that in it, no. It was just...
All it thought was it's just a massive.
Well, that's what the temperature probe is for, though, isn't it? Because, like, when you're putting a sear in, like, it doesn't... If you've got a beef that's this big, or if you've got one that's this big, if you sear it in a pan, it's going to sear at the same time, because you're only putting colour on it. So that's probably the reason for that. And then the temperature probe will tell it where it wants to take it. Now, I'm assuming the rationale has got thousands of sensors in it, and if that rationale can feel it increase in temperature really quick, it's going to know that that's a smaller piece of meat, because it shouldn't be working that quick. Like, their timer on here, it must have sensors, because if I put a beef in that was this big and it was at 17 degrees, that said it was going to take 46 minutes. But if that beef was this fat, it's going to take longer than 46 minutes because it's that big. So it must have some sort of sensor in there that says that this meat's smaller than our standard meat. This should be good. I'm really sorry, Electrolux, if I've done this wrong. I thought I've set 48 degrees. I'm going to open it now because it's done. But I don't know why the timer didn't go off. Maybe I didn't do it right. As I say, we're going to be doing this every week. So every week I'm going to be learning as well as you guys. There's the Electrolux one. Sorry?
4 minutes? 4 or 5 minutes? 4 minutes?
What, on?
Between the two.
Yeah, it wasn't long. Oh, there you go. Look, the timer went off. There you go. So the timer would have went off. I just wasn't patient enough. Right. Right.
Comments on that one then?
I know. That's what I get for not being patient. It would have went off. I just doubted myself for a second. But as I say, it's my first time using these two ovens. It's my first time using the roast on that one properly as well, but it's my first time using these, so I'm a little bit rusty. I'm not a professional, and I'm just trying my very best. What? This one here, this one looks like it's got a good sear on it, but it looks like it's got the sear that I expected and I thought that one was going to have. But this one looks a nice little bit browner. The nicer the seal, you keep more juices in and stuff like that. But I think this one potentially looks a little bit better than the rationale, but I'll let you guys at home decide that. I'll take this third one out in just a second. This one is also nearly finished, and then we'll compare the three together. We're going to weigh them, we're going to cut into them, and let's just see what happens, eh? There you go. Perfect. Now, the thing to mention with this one had the exact same amount of time as this one, and I put this one in. The oven wasn't quite ready for temperature. It wasn't quite hot enough, but this one's got a bit more of a sear on it, but it almost looks maybe a little bit too far for my liking. But with that being said, what I'm thinking now is these two were done manually by me, because I've done this quite a few times. I know what I'm doing with it, but this one was done just on settings alone, and I think it's not far off. You know, if it was just a little bit more colour, that would be absolutely spot on that. So I think that's the specific settings on here, which I think is very clever, but I don't know, what do you guys think at home? Which one do you think looks better? So you've got Rationale, Confirm, Electrolux. Now we're going to weigh them.
So 1.7 when they went in.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I'm going to get the camera down on this. Let's have a little look. So, first up, we've got Rationale. 1,383. So all of these before they went in were between 1,720 and 1,750. So, how much is that? How much have we lost there, Josh? We're at 1,381. I've got gloves on. I don't want to use my phone. Let's go 1,750 on all of them, because that's the average, I reckon.
1,750 minus what?
1,383.
So what, 367 grams?
367 grams off that one. Next one. This one is 1,399. You know?
351.
3597. Oh, 1397, sorry.
1397. 353.
Lastly, Electrolux. 1,371.
379. So they've lost about 300.
Right, so guys, that just proves my point. It's absolutely worked out perfectly that all three of these ovens, we've had the same reduction in meat. Now, maybe I didn't use these to the fullest potentials, but I've used this like your everyday chef would, and I've got almost the same end product, except the colours on all three of them are completely different. Got a bit lighter on this one, a bit darker on this one, and a little bit darker on this one, but that's not to say they won't taste great. So I'm going to take the string off it for now. Normally, you'd wait until the meat's rested, but as I said earlier, I'm not a patient person. And I'm running out of things to say.
You definitely could, well, you can tailor all of them, can't you? So do you think that rationale, oh, I want it a bit searer, a bit more searer, and you could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, no, that's as well. That's that's the highest sear setting. That was it the highest or the second highest? We'll go back through the video later on. We'll figure it out. But I'm pretty sure I either put it on the highest searing setting or the second to highest. I can't remember exactly which one, but I'm sure there are settings on there where I can actually change that. But you know, the way that these two are maybe a little bit darker, this could just be. It might not even be the oven's fault. This could be my fault for maybe not. I didn't quite, because I've never used it before. Maybe it's a stronger heat than I was expecting. I don't know. So it might not necessarily be the oven's issue. It could be mine. Most likely it is. Let's see if I can get this string off. Hey, I must say, I've just at first glance that these two feel a lot firmer than this one. I know this one's been out a little bit longer, but this one, when it came out, this one feels a little bit softer, whereas these two feel really, really tight. All meat generally feels like that when it comes out until it's rested, because all the muscles contract when it's in the oven, and then when you get it out, the muscles relax, all the juices come out of it, and that's why you let it rest. And these can continue cooking for quite a little while. But that's why they're tight. But just at first glance, this one is a lot softer than these two. I'd just like to say thanks again for Roast Mutton that let us film. Let them film them yesterday, tying up our meats for today and sorting it out for us very last minute as well, but they were very open to help us out, which is absolutely amazing, so thank you very much. I'm sure Matthew's very happy with that as well. I'm pretty sure we'll be coming back when we have more meat to test. And the young lad that was in there as well, the little butcher lad, had been butchering since he was 13, was absolutely amazing, very talkative lad. And you know, if you want to go down there and have a little look around, they've got some beautiful looking meat in there, and the staff are really, really nice, really helpful, really informative, absolutely fantastic people. And it's one of them I'd never even heard of Roast Mutton until yesterday. I'm kind of glad I did, because it's a really nice place, and they had like loads of ribber beefs on stage and in the rages and stuff like that. I'm not going to put these gloves on because my hands are a bit sweaty. Generally, I wouldn't like to cut and do them right now, but we need to finish at some point, so we're going to do it. So we're going to start with the rationale, because that came out first, so it's had a little bit longer. We're going to go straight down the middle. There we go, guys. There we go. So that's the rationale.
Would you say that's a good medium rare or rare?
Closer to, it's bordering, if it had been rested properly, it'd be about medium. Right now, I'd probably say that's about medium rare. This one next, we've got the Combi firm. Just remember, these haven't had a lot of time to rest, so they might be a little bit more redder than I'd liked. There we go, that's the Combi firm. Absolutely fantastic. You know what? They all look fantastic. They all look the same. And then we've got the Electrolux. Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you very much for today. I'm pretty sure I'll see you next week. Hopefully we can have a bit more fun next week.
Put a poll in the comments.
Sorry?
We'll put a poll in the comments.
We're going to put a poll in the comments. What do you want us to cook next? What do you want us to do? You know, if someone out there thinks they're going to be funny by saying I do a 10 kilo pork shoulder, you're not funny. I'm not doing it. Right, I'll leave it with you. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.